Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to Crash Clinic, the social repairer network, of course. Big apologies for the late start. I'm full of the flu, not COVID. I know we all get a cold nowadays, and everybody thinks we have COVID for some reason, but I don't. It's just a cold, a good old-fashioned cold, man flu, whatever we want to call it. Hope everyone's had an amazing week. It goes quicker and quicker, of course, absolutely flies by. And I don't know how the time goes so quick, but it does. Now, I've got a little technical issue again, and I don't know whether it's because I'm full of the flu. I actually hope if anybody is there, if you can hear me, everything is on. I know we had a couple of technical issues last week, but I'm just hoping that we're okay this week. So yeah, let me know if you can't hear me. I'm going to just crack on. It's going to be a short one tonight, guys, anyway, because I'm full of the flu for a start. And I'm actually waiting for some images to come across, which the technical issues seem to be me, because these images that I actually needed for today haven't come through as yet, because they're obviously the polls. So what I might do is go onto my own. That's what I'll do. I'll go onto my own site. Tim Kelly, tonight I've cooked and eaten. Wow. So you're flying tonight, Tim. It's normally 7 o'clock. Normally when you start your cooking. I like that. Hope you're well anyway, my friend. I've got some nice little issues to bring up tonight. So if anybody wants to join in, that's the aim of the show this evening. We're going to go over a few polls. So the only way I can do this at the moment is to go on to my LinkedIn profile and bring them up, because I normally download them. And the computer has gone so slow. It's and this happened last time. It was really warm, so I'm now wondering whether, because it's warm, it's affected me. I know it's affected me, but well, that's because I've got the flu. But I will tell you a couple of things whilst I'm trying to obviously bring in those little bits for discussion, because these polls I find are very interesting. And I did have a couple of, I think there was something you've done this week, Tim, as well, that I meant to bring up, but full of the flu, my head's gone. So yeah, struggling tonight, guys and girls, must admit. But I'll start off with a couple of things that I've had this week and thought you guys might find it interesting, because time is flying. It's already August. I find August to be, as a repairer, possibly the worst month we have, because we've got put our own staff on holiday and customers on holiday. So generally drops off, goes a little bit quieter. And then obviously at the end of August, boom, again, it normally goes busier. And then coming into sort of September, October, it starts to hit the busy period. Apparently, but we've been that busy all year. It's been outrageous. So I think it's going to be a funny few months coming up to Christmas, because I know one thing for sure, I'm going to be picking up my work. I'm going to be picking the best work that I can get in to suit us, of course. So you probably know, I mentioned a few weeks ago, we dropped Vision. We found we couldn't make money with Vision anymore, and a little bit disappointed that they have the same day they came back to us and asked us for payments for this and payments for that. And then today alone, we got an invoice for an unhappy customer in September 2020. Sorry, not an unhappy customer. A customer complained because in the middle of COVID, we couldn't book a car in. And what actually happened, sorry, we booked a car in, and a courtesy car, she'd changed insurance, so she couldn't insure the courtesy car. Apparently that's our fault, and they want to charge us £100 for it. Obviously, we're not going to pay that, but these are just the little things that go on within our industry that make our day a happy day, of course. I'm going to read out a little email as well from somebody where this is what's going on in the industry, because I think the industry is really going, I don't know, I think everybody admits there's some mad things going on out there. But this is an email where the guy has said, why is mine not, and this actually isn't from here. This car came to us, we couldn't fit it in, went to someone else, they couldn't fit it in anyway. This is from the customer, because the customer's come back to us all and said, why is my car not being repaired at the garage I wanted to have it repaired at? I have been in touch with them and they are telling me that you won't pay their prices. I'm really angry about this and I will not take my car anywhere else. Good on him, he's sticking to the repairer he wants to use. I will be in touch with the RAC insurance. That's obviously who are responsible for this. I'll be in touch with them tomorrow about this situation. It's a disgrace, couldn't agree more, and I will not stand for your second-rate service. Wow. Now, this was only, we touched on this last week about how this is happening more and more. Now, I had a job this week, last week, and it's a friend of mine couldn't book a car in and then got in touch with us. Can you help me out? Of course we can. We'll get your car in for you. And then they had the obvious double your excess. So the insurer turned around and said, we're going to double your excess. My friend said, not worried, I'll pay the double excess. Till I found out, of course, and said, no, that's wrong. Then, luckily, we gave him a courtesy car. They couldn't book him in, by the way. So we gave him a courtesy car. And then they said they wouldn't insure the courtesy car. I also then had another job booked in from a customer who, now this wasn't a friend, this was a guy who'd been to the AA. The AA told him that they couldn't book him until October. So he said, no good, I want my car repaired now. I don't want to drive around with a damaged car, of course. It's drivable, but it's in a bad way. So he, through another friend, how we doing, Paul, then gave us a call and said, can you book my car in? So we said, yeah, of course we can. No problem, we'll get you in. So we booked his car in, and guess what? The AA contacted him and said, if you don't use us, we're going to double your excess. Now, this is a guy who couldn't get his car repaired until October. They told him, categorically, we can't get you in. So he's had no choice but to use another repairer. And they've said, oh, if you're not using us, we're doubling your excess. He then said, okay, again, not happy about it, but we're going to fight that, of course. But then it comes to the courtesy car, and they said they won't insure it because he doesn't own it and he has no insurable interest. Well, that's obvious. It's a courtesy car. But again, so I don't get what insurers are doing to their own customers. Sure, you guys wouldn't treat your customers like that. I know I wouldn't treat my customers like that. And that's where independents are far better for me than corporations from these big insurance companies where they don't care. I'd be horrified to tell my customers something like that. But when you can't book a guy in and you can't offer him your services, surely something is really wrong. Are you breaching your contract? You're not offering what you should be doing. Tim Kelly will probably tell you more about that. But this poor guy's left stuck. So he goes somewhere else and they say, we're doubling your excess and we're not going to insure the courtesy car. Why are they making his life hard? I mean, is this how they try to get at repair centers? They're making their own customer's life a misery because he's just wants to get his car repaired. So he's found a garage that can repair his car because they can't fit him in. And now they're giving him a hard time. So these are the things that are going on in our industry that I just don't get. And I think it's really bad. Obviously, I want stories from anyone else. Are you having a similar kind of thing? Are you getting these problems that are happening? Because I think that's absolutely outrageous. I mean, I think it's outrageous that they're trying to double excesses anyway. But especially when they can't get the job in themselves. Unbelievable. On another note, I believe Enterprise have now increased their rates. If you're an Enterprise repairer, they've increased your rates. Would love to hear what you think of that. Is it now a lot better? Are they one of the better work providers? Has anybody else increased their rates? Obviously, we don't do work for everybody. So I'd like to know, has anyone else increased rates? Because I happen to know for a fact the world is going crazy. Wars are being called out everywhere. Everything in this planet is going up. Has anyone else increased their rates across our industry? Because up to last week, I wasn't aware of any. If anyone else is aware, please put something on the comments for me. Another problem that I've had this week, I mean, this is all in a week's work, and I'm sure you have the same problems. BMW. I've got a customer came to me. He's had a fault accident. He's hit a curb or something, span around, brand new BMW, the wheels hanging off. So we've got him in, giving him a courtesy car. And now BMW are telling us that they can't get, and we've got 2 of these in, by the way, they cannot get the steering rack. So there is no date when this brand new BMW can get a steering rack, because now if the arm's damaged, the wheel's damaged, by methods you have to change the rack. Now, we've just sort of sat there and said, okay, we've got the guy in, we've given him a courtesy car. Now we're being told there is no date on this steering rack. So I had to sit there and say, well, this is unfair now, because we've given him a courtesy car, but we can't give this guy a courtesy car indefinitely. Of course we can't. And I'm pretty sure you guys are having these same problems. I'm really interested. What are you doing about these kind of problems? So BMW can't get a steering rack for a brand new vehicle that they've supplied. Why should we be the ones, again, at a financial outlay, giving a courtesy car to help a guy who can't get it repaired? Why should we be the ones giving the courtesy car because BMW can't get a steering rack? Are you having the same problems? What are you doing about it? What do you think? I mean, I now sat here going, well, it's been 3 weeks already. I need that car to get other work in. I need that car to give to other customers. But we're stuck with the problem that we can't, there's no date on the steering rack. So I believe, I've already asked him to call BMW and say, look, we're going to have to take you out the courtesy car. It's BMW's fault that they can't get you a steering rack. It should not be the onus on us to supply you a vehicle where we're now going to be at financial at a loss. So another problem in the industry, and I'm interested again, how many times is this happening around the industry? Is anyone else having these problems? I can't be the only person having them. So we've got, I mean, we haven't had this for ages. In 1 week, we've had the double XS. We've had the double XS twice. We've had somebody won't insure a courtesy car for the customer. And now we've got a BMW steering rack problem with parts. Absolutely outrageous. Just going to have a quick hello. Tim Kelly's in the house. Tim, luckily this week, he's cooked and eaten his dinner. Tim, great to have you on. Paul, first time we've seen you. Hope you're well, my friend. This is Paul from Fix Autos. I don't know which branch, but hope you're well, my mate. And Rich Raymer, nice to have you in again as well. I'm with you on that. And parts issue is a major issue. So is it getting any better? I've got to be honest. We had a load of parts that suddenly came in, and I thought maybe the issue's getting better. But then this week we've hit this problem, and that seems worse. There is no date when this steering rack is available. So it's more the courtesy. So I've now got a job that I've got to wait for. It's in my yard, taking up space. I've got a courtesy car out there for free, costing me money because BMW can't get that part. Please let me know of any other issues you guys are going. I'd love to know. Maybe it's a manufacturer who's having a problem, but I think between us, we could do with knowing that kind of information. I'm quickly going to try and switch, if you give me 2 minutes now, because I wanted to go over what I call the polls to do with some questions on the industry, of course, that we've been asking. So, yeah, I do think I can bring it up. I can in a second, which will do us good. We'll go through these. They'll give us some fascinating facts, and then we'll call it a night because I'm full of the flu. Tim, let's have a quick, in relation to the steering rack, contact BMW press office. Never thought of that. Inform them, our customer services, and advise they have a duty to ensure their clients is disadvantaged, and they should pay towards the cost of a hire or provide a car until that point, until they provide it. Fantastic. Absolutely love that, Tim, because yes, it's not our problem. But again, the body shop always gets lumbered with the cost, the loss. It's always against us like that, Tim. And I'll be telling our customer to do that. I never thought of the press office, but they're contacting BMW tomorrow anyway, because we've said, look, we've got to take you out the car. Sorry, but it's not fair. We bear that burden. James Clifford, how you doing? I hope you're well, my friend. And Tim Kelly is saying hello. Rightio. let's have a look. I'm going to bring in a few of the polls that we did in the week, because I think there's always, we get some fascinating bits from that. So I'm going to bring that there in. Just give me 2 seconds. And hopefully now you can see. The very first one, of course, is how much more expensive do you think it is to charge an electric car than to run a fridge? I thought it was quite fascinating that 40% of people thought it was 5 times more, 33% 25 times more, and 26% 50. I only just read this fascinating fact for you all, but I found out that it's because, think about, electric cars are coming in and electric's going through the roof. When diesel came out and diesel was really cheap, diesel suddenly went through the roof, and then it was level with petrol. They always catch us. They always get us. And it looks like they're going to do the same with electric cars, because it's apparently 50 times more expensive when you start the charging, and it's 25 times more expensive than a fridge once you're charging that car. Rich, if you give the customer the part number or your order number and manufacturer's customer care to ring them, yeah, they're just exactly doing that tomorrow, Rich. So we'll be on to BMW, because it's not our problem. But I'm interested in anyone else is having similar kind of problems. Anyway, if we jump again here, we had I'm interested to find out how many people were doing the VIZION contract, because there's a lot of rumors, and you'll probably hear Anthony Hurd say quite a lot that it is a terrible contract. And apparently a lot of people are actually ditching the contract because it's so bad. So we got a lot of people are actually, so yes, I'm a VIZION repairer. 60% of these aren't. So it looks like VIZION don't, it may be true that they're losing a lot of repairers, is what I've heard. A lot of people are ditching that contract. If you can't make money out of it, then like Tim Kelly always says, look at your contract. If you're not making money, you must, you know, have the balls to ditch it. We did. And I know, again, I'll go back to a local repairer to us from Terry Monaghan, sorry. He ditched his contract and said he's been with them for years, but now he's not making any money. And a lot of repairers are doing the same. I think a lot of these contracts, I personally believe by the end of the year, they'll either have fixed it, or a lot of body shops won't be doing that work, because if you do, you're going to end up going bust. And there's only one person making money, and I think we all agree on that. But that fact just shows us there, of course, that a lot of repairers from that aren't doing the VIZION contract. Interesting. Another one, have you reviewed your work provider contracts since January 22? I asked this because I know early in the year I did the same poll, and it turned out a lot of people hadn't. And I think it's very important. Tim Kelly will also agree. Right now, it's very important, with all the prices going up, with everything's gone through the roof. If your work providers are not increasing your rates, are not trying to do something to help, because it's gone through the roof. And I do remember early on somebody said, oh, someone's giving an electric bonus of £50 a job. I mean, it's a little help, but do I think that's enough at the moment? Absolutely not, nowhere near. As I say, I know that Enterprise have put an increase in theirs, so well done. I don't know how good that is, of course, until somebody comes back and lets me know. But at least they're trying to put the rates up. You need to look at your contracts. 76% say they have. That seems quite high to me. I thought there was a lot less that hadn't. But you do really need to look at your contracts and see if they're any good or not. Is anyone getting any energy extra payments per job? Yes, somebody did say there's an insurer that's put that on now and allowing you to charge. I actually think it might have been VIZION that were allowing you to put £50 on as a kind of electric charge to cover that boost in electric. How are we doing there, Brett? Nice to have you on Express Bodyworks. Excuse me for being full of the flu. But yeah, so what percentage of this has fascinated me recently, and Tim, I know, has looked at this in quite detail as well. We've had a few jobs, and we've got one in at the moment, especially where they're they're trying to write the job off, and the job is quite clearly a repair. So it's quite interesting. It's not the only one. There's just one that's really stood out because it is without doubt a repair. This one is a non-fault job. Very simply to us, it's a repair. The insurer looks like they're trying to devalue the vehicle, and it looks like they're just to write this car off. Now, I don't get it. So it made me look into a few more vehicles, and it turns out there's a similar thing with, and I've been reading on LinkedIn on our pages that there's a lot of people that are suffering this same thing where insurers are trying to write cars off when we believe they're quite obviously a repairable proposition. I actually thought we were trying to save cars for the environment and everything else. So I actually thought, if I go back to last December, we were actually trying to creep up the percentage of writing a car off, as in 90% and higher, because we wanted to save the environment. Now we're actually writing cars off at a lot lower rate. So it kind of shocked me, because this vehicle, we worked out the percentage to be 60%. They were writing off the car because the repair was only 60% of its value. I thought, wow, still got 40% here. It was quite an expensive car. So they're trying to write it off at that value. So I wanted to ask the question, what did you think? Is anyone else having a similar problem? I think we are. I think there's a lot of people out there having cars written off, when the argument is, should they be? So that made me just come to the conclusion, what percentage of the value of a vehicle do we think a vehicle should be written off? Now, who should set that value? Interesting. And because I know an insurer will always do what's best for them to make money. I think we all know that. Sometimes is it best for the environment, the car, because they seem to tweak and change quite regularly at, what they're doing if it suits them. So one minute they're going to try and help the environment, the next minute they're writing cars off at a very low value. So that means I don't think that's good for the environment myself. It could write off a lot of cars. But I just wanted to have a guide, and I thought it's probably quite good for everyone to have a guide. Tim Kelly might be better to advise us on this, or a couple of VDAs out there like James Clifford, because what percentage should write a vehicle off? How far should we go in the value of a repair to save that vehicle? Now, it looks here, of course, that we've got 86 people, which is a good amount of people, say that it should be written off. Only 6% said 50 to 7% of its value. 26% said 60 to 80% of its value. And of course, 70 to 90% of us agreed that it should be, 70%, 69% said it should be 70 to 90%. So I think the repairers are happier to repair a car, to quite high of its value. But really, what is that percentage? Really interested to find that out. If anyone knows, please put in the comments, because obviously after this video, we talk about this a little bit later in the week. But I'm really intrigued to see how far up that value. Engineers especially, come on, tell us what you think. How high should we be going? Tim Kelly's come on already. That's fantastic. Let's see what he said. Kavia having their high net worth client contracts a figure of 50% of the market value. The customer, a prominent YouTuber, found me, and I made the insurer repair at 75%. Good on you again there, Tim. But again, so this is where I'm kind of saying, what is the, where should it be? What Brett Archer, I think currently with environmental issues and the problems with new car supply, exactly. The figure should be as high as possible, using common sense in each case. I agree with you, and that was my fault, and that's why I put this poll out, of course. Tim Kelly, on a non-fault, there is a precedent where a case was repaired in excess of 125%. Wow, that's really fascinating. But again, as Brett has just said, we've got a problem with new cars. We've got a problem with the environment. So surely repairing cars up to a higher value would be better. I don't know. That's my opinion. I think the parts issues are changing. Now, easy cars are getting written off due to higher car costs. I think the parts issues are changing. How easy cars are getting written off due to higher car costs. Yeah, parts issues, I thought were getting better. I'm not 100%. And again, maybe it's because of parts issues that some of these cars are being written off. You can repair up to 100% within the contract of indemnity. Wow, cheers for that, Tim. Because again, common sense comes into it. I would always ask the customer, do you want this car? And then it's a matter of, like I say, how high do we go? This car I've got, they're trying to write it off, and it's 60. The repair is only 60% of the value. Obviously, I think it's a repair. We've said we're going to repair it. The insurer has gone, no way. Sent a check already and said we're writing it off. And I'm saying, no, you're not. So that's going to be an interesting case, of course, because the insurer's trying to write it off. We're, us and the customer are saying, no chance. It's an easy repair, but it's interesting because I think it's a great fact, especially for us repairers. One, we're supposed to be repairing cars. Two, for the environment. And three, for the new cars demand. A very interesting one there, I think. And again, thanks everyone for joining in on these debates, because that gives us the information for us to look at. This one, of course, we had Wayne Mason just on from the MBRA, just joined recently. There are in our industry some, there's been the VBRA, the MBRA, there's been all these sort of groups to help us in this industry. So I thought it'd be great to have somebody come on from the MBRA and try and explain to us what they're doing, because I realise there's a lot of people that aren't members. And is it a good thing for us to do? If it is, we need to know. Again, I'm going to try and get, I think it's Chris on very soon as well to talk about the MBRA, because if we've got something good for us, we need to be joining it. So here, are you a member of the MBRA? We had 29% yes, 65% no, and there's obviously 6% that are thinking about it. So I think, again, we probably need to know a bit more about the MBRA. So I will try and get Chris Weeks on again to explain and tell us more about their services, because like the social network, we need to support people that are helping in this industry as the industry is getting tougher and tougher, as we all know. So yeah, we'll try and get Chris on very soon. Tim, ultimately it's down to the customer. There is nothing in the contract of insurance whereby the insurer can limit its liability to less than 100% of the market value. That's going to be interesting, Tim, because I'm going to use that on this case, and I'll obviously update you all how I get on with this case, because for us, it should be repaired all day long. Right, obviously we're going to try and get Chris on. Do you agree with AUDATEX estimating times? This was something I brought up because there's a few people that I've seen that have sort of stated they don't think the AUDATEX estimating times are actually good enough or are real. One thing I've known all my life, though, is that apparently it's done in a perfect environment, perfect, you know, on a brand new car. They don't have rusty nuts and bolts and all that kind of stuff. It's all done in a perfect environment. But I know many years ago, I didn't agree with a lot of their times when I was estimating. And there's a lot of the times there that when I, many years ago when it first came out, I'd done a manual. I'd basically gone to BMW to find out how much to change a roof, a retractable roof, convertible roof on a BMW. And for instance, they gave us 18 hours or told us it was an 18-hour job. And then AUDATEX came back and said it was a 6-hour job. So it was a massive difference to the reality of the dealership to AUDATEX. Now, I don't know if anyone actually challenges that, but there's been a lot of people that have said they don't trust the hours. So that's quite an interesting one, really, because who puts the hours together on that? Is it just Thatcham? Because Thatcham may be different to the manufacturer. Did Thatcham go to the manufacturer and confirm the times? Are Thatcham governed by the insurance companies, so they will work towards the side of the insurer? I don't know. I believe Solera or insurers are behind AUDATEX, so they're definitely not going to do it in our favour. But a couple of people brought up that they thought the times were bad, so I thought I'd bring it up. And it seems here that 70% of the people say no, they think the times are bad. They think we need a hands-on index, which is basically either a real-time index done, or maybe, again, like I just said there, with the manufacturer times instead of Thatcham's. I don't know. Does anyone challenge it? Has anyone ever sort of said this job's supposed to take 4 hours, let us time it? Interesting fact, but a lot of people obviously don't agree with AUDATEX times. So maybe let's hope that obviously the new estimating system, GT Motive, that's coming out, is it going to go by the same timing method? Is it going to use the Thatcham times? how is it going to differ to AUDATEX? Because what I don't want to see really is the fact that we get two estimating systems, and you know, basically if GT Motive becomes an AUDATEX clone that's just a little bit cheaper, or you know, a different way of billing you, is that really going to benefit us? I don't know, but it's an interesting one, as somebody brought up. So I think Brett says, I think you have to take the good with the bad using AUDATEX. Yes, some of the times are off, but you do win on some. And also paint, I think it works itself about right. I understand what you're saying there, Brett, but I do disagree with the fact that we should be relying on Zone 99. And I think it's bad that we're relying on the paint. Is the paint actually bad? Like, because some people say, oh, you make so much on paint. Is that, do we actually make so much on paint? Or is that just an actual reality, the way most people do business? That's just, yeah, that's right, we should make that much on paint. But you shouldn't have good or bad nowadays in the year that we are, especially if you've got Thatcham. Surely we should have exact times. Surely we should have the right times all throughout that system, and we shouldn't be having to try and make up here and gain there, and I don't know. But that's what people brought up. I thought it was interesting, and thanks for that comment, Brett, of course. Tim Kelly, the customer's best interest rule, or FCA regulations. ICOBS is the Insurance Conduct of Business Standards. They are mandatory, obligated in law to abide by them under the Financial Services and Markets Act. Brilliant, Tim. Do love that. And I'm going to have a look into this, because this is an interesting one on this write-off that I've got going on now. I like live tasks, by the way. If anyone's out there and got some problems like this, bring them up. This is the place to talk about them on a Tuesday night. Bring up your problems and tell us what's happened to you this week. It shouldn't be just about me. I'm here to just sort of say, these are the problems I'm having. Pretty sure you guys are having some similar stuff. Unless we get it out in the open and talk about it, we're never going to help fix or learn. So Tim says, AUDATEX is a guide, as is any other estimating system. I agree with that, Tim, but obviously with AUDATEX, I don't think you can actually alter any of the times. When you select most of it, it gives you fixed times, and we can't actually, you know, bring up like the old days. We used to have manual times. It was a good old days where we put in our hours for doing it. Paul Cunningham, the GT Motive argument is a fair point, but we need competition in the marketplace. So AUDATEX have to sharpen their pencil. Paul, 100% with you. But what I don't want to see, and I'm pretty sure you don't, is two identical systems, because they're just battling for a price-wise. I'd like to see GT Motive being probably a better estimating system on times. You know, is it just going to use the same data from what do you call it, from the Thatcham, and then it's identical system? I don't know. Like Tim's just said there, it is a guide. So, but with AUDATEX, I know you can't sort of, once you've selected a load of stuff, it doesn't allow you to change them. It says they're fixed times. So we need to be adding, you know, we need to be able to add what we think, I believe. And I hope GT Motive gives us that, because there's a lot of areas where a lot of people are saying the times aren't enough. So can we change them, and can we get more hours? GT Motive will leave you to sort that out. It's great having another estimating system out there. I'm not using it as yet, but I think we'll get them back on again soon. I'd like to know again, is anyone else using that system? How are you getting on with that system? Is it better? Is it working? I think it's time we got GT Motive back on to have a look again. We're hearing lots of hype on it, and it's gone into some big body shops, but let's have a look at it and see what the benefits are for us smaller independents. Brett, I do agree in some aspects with that, but sometimes it is also down to individual techs. Yeah, you've also got the faster ones to the slower ones, so I'm with you on that one. Looking forward to looking at GT. Yes, we did have them on the other week, and it was quite good. If you scroll through our videos, you can find a little bit of a demo on that. So maybe it's time to get another demo on it. Maybe break down the little areas rather than doing too long on it, so we can actually see the little areas and how good they are. Are they going to benefit us? I had somebody this week I found fascinating, said to me that he's now gone back to doing manual estimating. He's not using AUDATEX, and he's not using GT Motive, because he wants to be able to put his own times in it. And he says he's doing better the old method. Does anyone even remember the old method? I used to go out with a picture of a car and loads of little boxes, and we used to manually write it in and put, it was 3 hours to do that, 2 hours to fit it, 3 hours to paint it. Great old days. You used to talk to an engineer back then. AUDATEX times are very dependent on the country of origin for this shell. of the shell. They change depending on country as well. Wow, very interesting. Didn't know that, Tim. Rich says AUDA isn't as up to date as it should be. Still got no MG on there. So this is what we're saying. Somebody did bring it up and say, Terry Swansea, correct, Rich, that they said they didn't think it was good enough. So I'm really glad that GT's there. But again, I'm really intrigued to see what these benefits are going to be. How are they going to draw us away from AUDATEX? Although I don't think it's a massive problem because of the costs. But AUDATEX are very interlinked with the insurers, and I think that's the biggest problem that we've got to sort of undo. Or GT Motive have got to get that link as well. But I hope it does give us some benefits. Again, let's get them back in the next few weeks and see what those benefits are. Another interesting factor, though, of course, which I find great. So where are we going on to? I've lost. Where am I? Where's my screen gone? There is my screen. Right, and so the next one is, where are we? Oh, now this is one that seemed to spark a little bit of there's some quite controversy with this one because a lot of people, I don't know, there's a lot of anger about this, I felt, and I had some messages from some people saying, you know, it's an unnecessary cost, it's and it's not needed, was what quite a few people said to me. Now, I'm going to be honest, from my own opinion, I think the BSI is great. And I think it's something that would be great to have, of course, in our industry. Some people said anyone can tidy up when they're having an inspection, but I'm just being honest from my point of view. We've had inspections and they are that little worrying thing. You know, have we got everything right? Is it all okay? Then they come in and they do spot checks. Now, the spot checks, they're checking that you're doing everything properly. They actually check down to the nuts and bolts that you're putting on the car. So I think that is a really good thing. But they also check they check images, they check methods. Fantastic if it meant something. Now, when I say if it meant something is, I'm sick to death of insurers saying that we need to take pictures of absolutely everything we do on a vehicle now. You know, my computers are full of, I've got cameras and memory cards and memory space. And let's face it, when you fill a computer, it starts working slower and all this kind of stuff. But it's down to trust again, because insurers don't trust us. They want to do that. But they also want us to have the BSI. Now, what I'm saying is kind of, what's the point in us doing all that and having the BSI? I actually believe that the BSI should stand for more. And I believe it should stand for more for the insurers. To me, if the insurer says you've got BSI, they should respect that you're doing the job properly. They should have a bigger trust within your repair centre, because they know you're working to the standards. They know you're working methodically. You're doing things right. You're having inspections. So because we've got that cost, and I think it's a good thing, I think it should take away something else to at least help us a bit. And I think it's, what I'm coming from is, I think it's more of an insurer problem than, I think the insurers should trust the BSI badge more, not just tell us to have it, because yes, it costs us money, but why do we actually have it? Because we're giving you pictures of absolutely everything we do anyway. And then you tell us you won't pay for stuff if there's not a picture anyway. So what's the point in having the BSI? Paul Cunningham, I agree that insurers still want to audit us on top of the BSI. It's ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying, Paul, I think the BSI and the idea of that sort of comment, should the BSI badge stand for more? The BSI inspects repairers twice a year and checks of everything, just like you've said. So why are insurers doing it as well? Surely if we're having to pay the BSI and the insurers are sort of, you know, taking it on board as a good standard, why are they still doing this? Everything costs us money, remember. We're the poor guys with very low profits. So we need some help back somewhere. And I just think the BSI is, a lot of people don't like it. I think it's a good thing if the insurers adopt it better. But if they're not going to adopt it better, then I actually do think it's a bad thing, because it's just costing us money. And is it actually pointless? That's the point people were making. So BSI, I'm actually trying to help you, because I think it'd be a good thing. But I think you need to talk to insurers and say, look, any insurer that's making us have that standard, I think they should be dropping, you know, all this other stuff, because it should be better for us. Rich, you can have images of a repair and sometimes engineers still won't pay, won't mention any names. Yeah, it's terrible, Rich. I've got to agree with you. And I'm going to be honest about this. I actually heard some horror stories from repairers doing horrible things that are insurance approved. Anybody can take a picture with a bit of filler on it and then wipe it off after. That's all I'm saying. So the trust issues come through from doing audits from BSI. Catch you doing that, you're in big trouble. So they should have that trust, is my opinion. Tim Kelly, the question is, at what point did repairers have to answer to insurers? Tim, you know, I do love the way you slip those in. You are 100% right. This is, I mean, what the heck? Why should somebody said to us the other week that if they don't take a picture and it gets missed, they won't be paid. Now, let's just quickly put this scenario out there. There's a guy repairing a car. He, for some reason, has an upset tummy and he has to run off. He's got the, what should I call him on in the public? You know, he's got something wrong with his belly anyway. He has to run off home. So somebody else takes over his job, doesn't know if he's taken his full pictures or not. So he misses a picture, but he carries on and finishes the job. The insurer then doesn't get a picture of that part of the job or whatever it was that he's supposed to have done, blended into a panel or done something else. The insurer now says they're not paying it. At what point did the body shop not do that? And at what point does the BSI badge stand for some kind of trust? You know, because these things happen and that repairers, I'm sorry, but they should be paid. Terrible. Paul Cunningham, it's a bigger issue than BSI. It's a completely lack of trust. Paul, I've been harking on about this for weeks. This problem has been there for donkey's years. Insurers do not trust repairers. So I think it's kind of come on from the old days when we had Freds in the sheds, or we were called Freds in the sheds, and we didn't have computers, we didn't have technology. I've got to admit, you know, everyone was repairing cars with dozers. We're different beasts now, and I think we deserve the respect. I think insurers should give us that respect. It's like anything with the BSI. If the BSI are doing their job properly and they catch a repairer up to something, they should send a report to the insurer. It's up to the insurer whether they kick them off, of course. But yes, it's a massive lack of trust. Always has been, and something we need to fix. Yes, Terry, I know me and you talk about it regularly. Colin Keeler, great to have you on, buddy. It doesn't stop cars being repaired poorly, which is what it was sold to do. It should, Colin, really. I think the idea is you shouldn't get the BSI badge if you're not repairing cars properly. I don't know fully, because I haven't been into it fully, whether people I believe it's quite a hard badge to get. Again, something else BSI would have to take up. Maybe that to be a little bit more stringent. I don't know. There's always, you know, at the end of the day, a car can be repaired badly. I don't know where we go with that, to be fair. BSI, just an inspection from an insurer doesn't stop that either, does it? So, yeah, I think the BSI standards should still be good, though. Carl Smith, you should be able to charge for admin time. Exactly. This is something I said again the other day, Carl, which I do love there, because if you're having to take photos, buy cameras, it's always the cost on us again. Memory cards, bigger hard space in your computer so you can load thousands of pictures. Obviously, then you got photo software, faster computers. All the cost comes back to us all the time. And we should, again, be able to charge, not just for the estimate, for all these things we're doing. Tim Kelly, an interesting question comes when requesting information from insurers and they advise it commercially sensitive, yet the same does not apply when you request the same from a repairer. Yes, commercially sensitive. Does that mean we can't talk about it, or they stop you talking about it? Yes, it's a very interesting phrase, Tim. Brett, BSI certainly keeps you on your toes, especially keeping up to date with calibrations. Well, see, this is, Tim, this is what I'm saying. Sorry, Brett. And this is why I think the BSI is good. And I'm singing your praises here, BSI, because I don't think your badge stands for enough at the moment, is what I'm saying. But I do think, like there, your calibrations, your equipment, everything has to be up to date, because they do check that. I know that for a fact. Subcontract agreements, safety procedures, aspects, We all like to think we're great, but yeah, it does keep you on your toes. And I think that's a good thing from it. But again, we're having too much. We're having too much to do, too much taking photos, storing them, remembering, and then worried if you forget it. Like Tim said earlier, when did, I did like that phrase, Tim, I'm actually looking for it. When did repairers have to answer to insurers? It's true. Tony Swanbrook, I to agree, especially with how stupidly busy we all are at this time. Very much. We're all so busy. Colin Keeler, when RBS were doing fast track repairs, BSI wouldn't look at those and weren't interested in them. That's why that, maybe because we were told to do it. Yeah, interesting, but maybe something fast track repairs BSI would have to look at with RSI. Brett again, imagine how many things over 5 years could slip through, Terry. Yes. Could be a lot. That's what I'm saying. Again, why should it be our cost when we've done the job? Maybe someone on here has ever heard of anyone losing BSI. I haven't. That is a point, but I did put this up a little while back, Colin, and I was told somebody did pipe up and say, yes, they knew of somebody who'd lost it. So interesting, but at the same time, does it make you stand up enough to not lose it? Does it just make you come up that extra level that I think makes the BSI standard worth having? Tim Kelly, did you know the BSI does not have a compliant process for consumers? Wow. So they're not consumer based. Obviously, they are direct to insurer based from repairer. So is it that link, Tim? Are we looking at repairer to BSI to insurer? So it doesn't touch the consumer. Should they have a consumer element? They should have a consumer element on the bloody insurers. I know that. That would be interesting to do it. Inspect them, how they look after their customers, because that's what we know falls down big time. The BSA barred me on LinkedIn and social media for asking them of their compliant process. I have your car repaired poorly by a BSI repairer. The consumer has no redress. Wow. That's an interesting one, Tim. I'm not going to deny it. But again, I bring up the points for us to talk about. 77% of us said they think the BSI should bring more trust to the insurer. I suppose that's another element to look at, Tim. But for us as repairers, we believe, or a lot of us believe, obviously, that the badge should stand for more. That's what that post was really saying. The BSI badge, I think, is a good thing, but it should stand for more. How that happens, again, that's what this site's all about. Talking, making things happen. BSI, why don't you come on? Let's have a chat. And let's try and chat with insurers. I think it's time we had an insurer on here, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be too scared. Colin, if they run out of repairers, they won't get any money to pay their wages. That's true. That's true, but that goes with any membership, to be fair. Right, the next one is, do you have space for more work capacity or too busy? This was an interesting one. And it seemed to be quite even. 20% had just the right amount, 50% were rammed, and 33% can do more. So that's an interesting fact, really, when apparently there is a capacity issue. Now, that capacity issue hit me last week, a couple of weeks ago, because this guy from the AA phoned us up and said they can't get me in until October. So I said, fine, no problem, we can get you in. He'd come to us all happy. He'd found someone that could do the repair straight away. And then the AA said, oh, now we're going to double your excess and we won't insure the courtesy car. So I think that's a disgrace, of course. I think it's absolutely outrageous. There actually isn't a capacity issue, is my belief. There is obviously a capacity issue for people like the AA because they can't get enough repairers because their rates must be terrible, possibly. I know that's what's happening with kind of VIZION and stuff. So the capacity issues, they're trying to cram all their work into these body shops that'll do it for nothing. They're probably going to go bust eventually. That's their problem. But it shouldn't be the consumer's problem. It shouldn't be the customer's problem. He should still be able to go where he wants and get his car repaired. Especially, Tim, one for you to look at, because it must be a breach of contract. If they can't honour his insurance and repair his car, they want him to drive around with a damaged car till October. They can't honour his services. So now they've said, but if you're not going to use us, well, I've tried. We're going to double your excess and we're not going to insure the courtesy car. That is outrageous. I'm pretty sure he won't be insuring with the AA again next year, but It's the way they're treating them at the moment. That has to be wrong. There isn't, in my opinion, I don't believe there's a capacity issue, because I've got to be honest, if someone turns up with a good contract tomorrow, my bad contracts are gone and the work's coming in. It's as simple as that. And everyone will be the same on that. There isn't a capacity issue. The capacity problem is with approved repairers, because the insurers are trying to cram too much to them, because everyone else is now starting to ditch these bad contracts. I hope so anyway. Tim Kelly will tell you, you need to look at them and you need to get rid of them if they're not good enough for you. Groups are being backed by insurance companies to get bigger. I do agree with that, Colin. That's a bit of a naughty one. Why are insurers trying to make it more difficult than it is already for us? And yes, like Colin says, there's a lot of group body shops opening new repair centres. Who would want to open a new repair centre right now with the terrible contracts that are out there? So something's wrong, and I think insurers will come unstuck one day when these big groups suddenly say, "Hey, we've got the monopoly now. Now we're doubling our prices, and you've got no choice." Then they'll go, "Oh, where's the little independents gone?" Won't be any there. That's going to be the problem for them. All interesting. Rich says insurers were saying not long back there was a national shortage of hire and courtesy cars. Not sure if that's true. Again, these are things, like I say, they couldn't help the customer. We could. That was the problem. And there is other repairers out there. When a customer is stuck, there is help out there. So why wouldn't the AA say, "Oh, brilliant news, no problem, off you go, have your car repaired"? That's what should be happening. Back to ICOBs 2.5.1 TCF. Right, I'm going to have a look at that after, Tim. I'll jot that down because that's an issue when there's a breach of contract. We won't and can't repair a vehicle at £20 an hour. And how do you even think we can? It's quite embarrassing, Terry, for them to think that. But they do, and they still. We've had people call us last week. I'm pretty sure. I can't even remember if they actually had the cheek to say, "Would you we've got a repair for you. Can you repair it at £26.50 an hour?" And then we had another one calling in. "We've got a job for you at £28 an hour." Wow, big deal. Sorry about this. Can I have a sip? Them rates, that figure, just crikey. You can't even go in the pub and buy a packet of crisps and a couple of beers for that. Right, so work capacity. I believe there is work. There's plenty of capacity out there. Insurers are the problem. Do you think car insurance has gone up in the last 12 months? I actually put this in because this blows my mind. 1 minute the insurers put insurance is coming down, then they put it's going up, and then if you look at little things, they've had a massive windfall in the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, as you'll confirm, Tim Kelly, with the personal injury reform. It's destroyed the personal injury market and saved them millions. They actually stated not long ago in one of the magazines that the amount of personal injury claims has absolutely took a humongous dive, way down. So it's saved them millions. Now, I remember in the reform, they actually, if you go and find the reform, you will find it. It actually stated that the insurers wanted to pass on the saving to the consumers. Always makes me laugh when the insurers do this because you know what's coming. Yes, they never pass on anything to the consumers. So they've had this windfall, but then all of a sudden they say, but car repairs have gone up. Car repairs have gone up. So you can never, they've always got something to be able to, help their story back whichever way they want to go. But at the minute, 1 minute it's going down, then it's going up. One thing I know for sure is my business insurance, my home insurance, car insurance, everyone I know's insurance has gone up. So when they sort of sit there and try and say it's coming down, absolutely outrageous. So they're making, and then when they go and post that they're making absolutely millions every quarter and half year, why? Because we give it them. We repair cars. Their costs might be going up, but I'm a massive believer when they use these groups, these accident management groups, there is a massive referral fee goes into them and goes back to the insurer. Pretty sure of that. Can't prove it, but pretty sure of that. And I'm pretty sure we're paying that back into the insurers. So, yeah, definitely for me, insurance hasn't come down. I haven't seen it go down. And 76% of us just interesting to find out who thinks it has increased, and that's quite a high percentage believe it has. Next one, must be coming to the end now. The average repair cost. This was supposed to be a quick one, so I'm sorry about this, guys. But the average repair cost, good or bad, load of rubbish. What is it? Personally, I think the average repair cost is a bad thing, because I don't think you should have an average repair cost. A repair cost is a repair cost. It's not like, and I explain this again, I think in business, the average kind of costs came from a scenario like I'm buying a load of stuff from China, and I'm also buying the same product from the UK, and I'm selling it somewhere. Now I'll add all of that together to get the average cost of what I'm actually selling it for and what I'm making. But in a car garage, I think it's dangerous to try and run an average repair cost. Always absolutely, you know, I hated it when you're talking to work providers and they say, oh, you need to do it for this. I had a work provider 10 years ago, and they claimed to have an average repair cost of 700 and something pound. Absolute rubbish. It turned out to be an absolute farce. So again, there's no way you could, because I was looking at my average repair cost. You can work an average repair cost out, but I don't think it gives you any meaning, is what I'm saying. So another interesting factor there, but at least 94% of us agree that the average repair cost is a bad thing in this industry, especially repair. I know there's some insurers that actually, I've been told, and I know how true it is, that a certain repairer just chucks loads and loads of cars through at an average repair rate. Every single car is billed at that rate, that rate, that rate, that rate, that rate. They win on some, they lose on some. Wow, would you do that? I wouldn't. I'd be terrified. But there you go. We'll come back to Tim again in a sec. Yeah, it means nothing, doesn't it, Tim, the average repair cost? I want to go back to this Cobb's professionalism, liability, warranties, best interests. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at that later, Tim, especially for this guy. When a customer's been let down, I really can't understand how they want to double his excess and not insure the courtesy car. Absolutely outrageous, especially when they can't service him. How much do you rely on your insurer work provider contracts? This one is interesting to see again. So, and I'm glad that a lot of people put in the truth, of course, because we've got 70% of people at the moment are relying on their work provider contracts. So that tells us that there is... since COVID, I believe it's changed the industry quite a lot. I know for us, when we came back, quite a lot of customers had gone bust and all this kind of stuff. And so we're having to search out for new work. And it's these groups that come to you, these work providers with loads of work, but is it any good to us? I don't know. We're actually talking at the moment about buying and selling cars and doing other things, because when you look at those jobs, you realize you're not, if you're making anything, you're not making a lot of money. And I really do think it's going to have a detrimental effect. I think there will be a capacity problem later down the line, and that'll either be because repairers have gone bust or they've come out of the industry. And I think that's going to happen a lot, and that's going to be quite scary. So there's some very interesting times coming ahead. And obviously that's why we started the Repairer Social Network. A little punt. Don't forget to help us. We've got an app coming out. I can't fund this all on my own. It's your website. It's for us all to talk. You can even go on there, have a private chat with somebody. We can have private forums where nobody gets to see what we're talking about. But I need help with it. You can go and sign up. It's only $39.99 a month, but it helps fund the site, and it helps us to bring out the app, and that way keep us in contact and keep us talking. So if you can, please go there and join. Every little bit matters, of course. It's not a lot of money, but it's going to help us guys coming together and to stay together. Right, Colin, RBS built that. Oh, it was RBS that built that model, wasn't it, on the side of the Art to sell it off? Oh, right, and not find examples to make them look great and kill the approved repairer. RBS built the insurance side on the accident repair centre to sell it off. Yeah, and it's isn't that still going? Is that still not been sold off yet? Or I can't remember what happened there. Obviously, that big company that went bust. Can that happen again? Of course, because when you've got funders, you last so long until you actually realise you're making no money. I don't believe these big groups are making money. I believe they're being pumped up and funded, but lucky for them to be funded, because again, I've been in this industry 33 years and they cannot be making that much more money than we are. We try and be thorough on every single job. And if they're doing all this contracted work by insurers at £28 an hour, no, something ain't right. Anyway, that will come out down the line, as it always does. But yes, there's a lot of people. That's quite sad, I think, at the moment. Is that a lot of people are relying on work provider work, and I think a lot of people need to get more private work and better work into them. So let's hope that changes down the line, because it's going to be an interesting time, especially with all these problems with insurers trying to pinch the work, trying to double excesses, trying not to insure courtesy cars. Horrible tricks, but it's going to backfire at them at some stage, I do believe. Tim Kelly says that Direct Line has DLAM sites. One of the, I do believe, the one by us, and at one point, I think it had something like a 60% return rate. It was absolutely outrageous. So nobody would use it. We were constantly putting work right for them. It was a terrible show. So interesting to see how that gets on anymore. How that's cracking on. Average repair cost, they sold it. Now it's Direct Line. Got you. That's what you were saying, Tim. So they did sell it on average repairs. Don't own by insurance company ARCs, save on VAT. Don't own insurance companies, save on VAT. They shouldn't really save anything, Paul, because the VAT is not ours anyway. So the VAT is only belongs to the taxman. So whatever VAT we take in, we contra anyway. So I've always said that VAT is not our sort of money. So we take it off and give it back to them. And if insurance companies aren't VAT registered, that means they can't claim back the VAT. And they will still have to pay that on parts because they don't. Well, good question. Would they have to? Yeah, they should. I'm pretty sure they should. I'm going to look into that because that could be a massive difference if they're not paying the VAT out. But I'm pretty sure that insurance companies still, although they're zero VAT rated, it means they just don't charge that. They still have to pay it when they're out. Going to be interesting. I'm going to look into that, Paul. Interesting one. See if we can find out. There's a task for us. See if someone can find out if they can. I'm going to make an inquiry on that, Paul. Well done. This is what I love about the show. These amazing facts that come out. They were doing it for £1,200 a repair. Really? Wow. Wow. No VAT on labour for insurance owned. Going to be interesting, that is, Wayne. Nice to have you up again, matey. Yeah, I'm very interested to see, do they actually pay the VAT on parts? Obviously, they're not VAT registered, so they can't claim it back. But I'm pretty sure they still have to pay it. So, don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. But either way, VAT works out as a nil. It's not ours. So it shouldn't really affect a massive difference on it. But yeah, interesting. Insurance are not registered, but they can reclaim VAT back on a repair. What? No way. Now that changes it. See? They're not VAT registered. If they can, how can they reclaim VAT back on a repair? There was a loophole that has now, so that has now stopped him. Is that what you're saying? Because that would be a massive benefit to them and not to us, which would be unfair. Would be very unfair. So, right then. But yes, work provider contracts. So that means that 70% of repairers are relying on those work provider contracts. If you are a Vision repairer, do you believe you are making money? This was, again, I saw a few posts where people were moaning and saying that, Anthony Hurd especially put some posts up saying there's no way people are making money if they're doing these contracts. So I just actually thought, do repair centres actually believe they're making any money? I got to be honest, we couldn't do it. We couldn't make money, so we had to ditch the contract. And I just wondered if anyone else thought they were or weren't. So it was very interesting because you've got 63% said no, they believe they're not making money. So this drops me back to Tim Kelly, who Tim Kelly always, and I think he's done an article recently that says, know your contracts and, learn to say no. And then there's 11% are not sure. So that drops it up to a massive 75% really don't know if they're making any money on that contract. Quite sad because you need to know whether you're making money on it. But again, that means you've got a lot of repairers out there that are actually repairing work, not knowing if they're making any money. Wow. 26% think they are. Interesting. I would love to have one of those repairers on the show to sort of tell me how, because we couldn't make it work, so we had to call it a day with it. But very, very interesting fact: 75% of repair centres either don't know, do you believe you're making money? So they don't think they're making money, and the other 11% aren't sure. That really means that's quite a scary figure, really, isn't it? 70%, 75% of people don't know if they're making any money out of doing that work. I suggest you try and find a way. There is a way, and that's what this channel's for. There are people out there. I've forgotten his name now, bigger pie because of my flu, but I'll try and bring this up next week because there's a couple of people out there that can actually come into your company and help you to find out. There's also, I know Mr. Autoflow is out there. He goes around and he can, if you're using Autoflow, he'll make your system even better for you, so you know what your figures are. But I would advise you get to learn that, because that's very, very important. Tim Kelly says insurers are now expanding their own repair side to charge non-fault liable insurers more money. Well, this has always got me and fascinated me, Tim, because we've got the industry fault insurers trying to make repairers do it for nothing, and then yes, when they have a repair that's non-fault, they're trying to charge the other party a fortune. And this used to make me laugh, because you think of the personal injury claims. The industry went mad. It went boom. And it got uncontrollable, if I'm honest. It got really, I thought it was terrible, as everyone else did. But the biggest culprits were the insurers charging other insurers. They even had, what do you call it when you link a solicitors with an insurer, a BS, oh, I forget now because of me flu. But they even had one of those so they could still carry on charging for the personal injuries right to the death before the reforms obviously killed it. But they were the worst. They were the ones charging each other fortunes for personal injury claims. And you just think, wow, they're the ones complaining about it. But that is actually how I describe insurers to people. I say they want the cake and they eat it. It's as simple as that. Always have done, always will do. Do the body shops owned by Vision earn money? Well, this is something that I found really fascinating, because I believe somebody else said they think it's a fact that they keep quiet. Don't know if they do, but I'm really fascinated. Like now, any of these places that have got their own repairers, I wonder if Vision do it for 28 quid an hour. And I wonder if Vision take off the percentage at the end so it kills their parts. I really wonder, but I suppose we're never going to find it out. But it's, yes, Tim, referral fees as well, massively. They were the biggest culprits. What you know as well as I do, Tim, they're, wow, what an industry, the insurance industry. It's mental. Rich, just look at the management companies and ask, what do you charge compared to they pay us? I wish they'd tell us. I mean, it'd be lovely to find out, lovely to be a fly on the wall and see what, you know, an own repairer gets charged or charges out to what we do. That would be a massive interest, of course, but I don't believe we're ever going to find that out. So unless anybody knows, please tell us, because I'd be absolutely fascinated and love to know, as I'm sure you guys would too. It would be very, very interesting. That's the last of the polls, I'm afraid, guys. So it's back to me for a couple of minutes, and then we'll call it a day, because I'm still full of the flu, still struggling. Some interesting facts there, guys. So please, when I do put out these, please join in, because it helps give us a picture of what's going on and what's happening. Let's just have a quick manage. We did that one there. So Brett, we make it work and growing well. Wow, fantastic. I'd happily have anyone down to site to show how, or to look through the books. Last month, highest number of repairs, highest GP. We run a very tight ship and know our numbers. It is different for every business. I guess Vision are about 50% for us. So 50% of your work. Interesting, Brett, and I might keep you to that. I'd love to pop down and see, if I'm totally honest, if you're making it work, unless they've increased anything. I'm dying to know if Vision have increased anything. We just thought it was really bad. They take so much off there. Is it 20%, 25%? That's a third of your profit going down the line. And when you come to parts, whatever you're spending on parts, And again, Brett, are you a model that repairs more than replace? Because I find if you're buying parts, you're losing too much off the top line because you're losing money on the parts, which is terrible. Insurers, the world's culprits for everything. Everything else is smoke and mirrors, where insurers blame consumers for fraud. Tim, I absolutely love your attitude to insurers. You're a killer. Kelly Curly, kickback from paint companies, non-genuine parts, suppliers. I suppose all of this goes on, which us guys don't get. But again, now I know Brett is a Vision repairer. Fantastic. Glad to know that. Kettle Beyond, fantastic, Brett. I'd love to pop down and see you. Because again, we couldn't make it work with buying parts. The basic principle is when I see what I received compared to what I invoiced, it's criminal. And yes, I agree with that, Terry Swan. It is when you actually get your invoice and how much has been taken off it. Now, that's a good business. But yeah, interesting. And I would love to know if Vision do take those percentages off or pay themselves or not. And Brett, definitely probably keep you to that, mate. I'd love to see, because Vision are, it looks like most of us now are getting work from work providers. I think it's too big a number. I think it'd be nice to sort of for people to try and get rid of that and get your own private work. But again, we will see. Time will tell. Thanks for joining in, guys. I've been full of the flu. Didn't mean to keep you this long. And I'm going to catch you next week, of course. Take care. Keep earning money. Brett, you've blown my mind with that on the Vision stats. But there you go. Well done. Some fascinating conversations there. Again, if you've got any problems or anything you'd like to be brought up on the show, please let me know. Drop me a line, because I'm really interested on the problems that you're having, especially parts at the moment. Is parts getting better? Is parts getting worse? I think that's could be a massive problem come Christmas. So let's see where we get. Rich, again, thanks for that, matey. Take care. Nice to have you in, buddy. Definitely a repair culture. Fantastic. That's all I needed to know, Brett. As I say, we were buying a lot of new parts, and I think that's what killed it for us, because they were taking too much profit off the parts. That really did kill it off. Rich, great to have you on, mate. You take care. I'll hopefully see you next week. DLAM internal rate was 14. Wow. Exactly. Yeah. See, Tim, it's nice to know these facts. Colin, lovely to have you on again, mate. We'll see you next week. Paul Cunningham, fantastic. Thanks for joining in. Nice to see you on there, matey. Give us, again, guys, don't forget to give us anything you want us to bring up. Send me a message. Give me a line and we'll bring it up for the next show. Tim Kelly, always an absolute pleasure having you on, sir. And I love your passion and your love for insurers. Never ceases to amaze you, Tim. Fantastic. And I think we'll have to have you back on the show at some stage, Tim, again, covering a few issues and stuff. And again, I'm full of the flu, gang, so big apologies of my voice and the sound. But anyway, we'll catch you next week. Have a great week. Keep battling on. Keep making money. We'll see you soon.